Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Artist Exchange Live.
The Artist Exchange. Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Starts now. Welcome to the Artist Exchange radio show here live on BeExposedRadio.com. We're here live on this rainy Saturday evening. Today's topic is what happened to Officer Friendly. If you don't know, I am in a show called Force Continuum that kind of, I don't want to say exploits or explains or exposes really the connection between officers and the community and how those blurred lines can lead to where we are today with people not respecting or liking or even wanting the police to be a part of it. There's a lot of discussions going on. Do we really need police officers? The answer for me is yes, we do need them. We need somebody to police and manage the day-to-day security of the city. But somehow they have turned into addition to the military in many aspects because they're now military style security systems that are now in place. With us today, we have an awesome young man that I was following on Facebook, and you've heard about him in the news or you've read a lot about him, Mr. Marcus Shaw.
Yes, sir.
Shaw. Marcus Shaw, he's a young man, poet, creative entrepreneur in the making. He's with us today, and he's going to share his point of view, his life, what he does, and his activism and his voice with us. Just some laundry we got to do today. Don't forget to vote for the Artist Exchange. We have been nominated for the Rep Your Grinder of the Year award for radio. It's an awesome thing. I really feel pleased and thankful to be put into the nomination category. Some awesome radio shows and all the other categories, some awesome artists and people really doing their thing, working hard. So I'm honored to really be a part of that lineup. So if you go to Rep Your Grind, that's REPYOGRIND.com. You have until May the 10th. You can vote at least once you can vote once a day. We don't want anybody cheating or anything like that, but you can vote once a day. It closes May the 10th, and the actual ceremony itself will be May the 15th. That's a Sunday. So if you go to our Artist Exchange page, they are actually the information and stuff like that is on there. If you go to the repyourgrind.com, you'll be able to go to the voting booth is right. It's very easy. One of the easiest voting things that I've seen in a long time. So you go right to the website and it's up. Click on award voting, and then all the other information is on the website as well. So they're awesome. Miss Vanetta Chapin, she's an awesome young lady who's really doing her thing in the Baltimore DMV area, and she has put together this award that really spotlights the people who are really working hard, that are trying their best to not only get applause and ticket sales, but actually going beyond the call of duty. So I'm really honored to be a part of that. Also, the Actors Playground is this Tuesday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the UB Blake Jazz and Cultural Center at 847 North Howard Street. Myself and Tracy Jiggets will be co-hosting that event. Tracy started this a couple years ago, and it's basically an open mic for actors. Normally when we go to poetry spots, they look at us strange because we're doing August Wilson pieces and stuff like that. So Tracy thought we needed our own venue, our own space to really work it out, because often we aren't writers, but we are the illustrators of writers. So we have this space for you guys to come out, and you can be a poet and get up and do a poem, but we're asking you to tap into that actor's theatrical, dramatic presentation style and really bring it. So poets are welcome to come, writers. If you wrote a play, if you have an idea, come and work it out. We do readers theater there. We are planning for this summer and fall, we're planning some workshops to help people get the professionalism side of acting, and whether it be headshots, resumes, bios, PR, marketing, acting, for stage, screen, all that. We'll have some awesome educators come in and really give you guys and ladies the ins and out of the field of acting. There's so many different options now with YouTube and Hulu and Netflix. There's so many different options. You don't have to be going to that big pilgrimage over to New York or California every year for their big casting calls. You can definitely create something. You create something in your bedroom now. That's how easy and accessible it's gotten. So that is, again, this Tuesday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the UB Blake Center, 847 North Howard Street. Admission is just $5. Featuring this feature will be Radiance Pittman. She is a Coppin alumni. She does a number of different styles of improv where she expresses and points out and gives some light to a lot of social issues that we're facing today. So she's phenomenal at what she does. So definitely come out, check her out. The first half of it is the open mic, and then we transition into the feature, and then we have fun. So it's kind of like a little after party. Don't forget also the open house for Be Exposed Radio is May the 14th, 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. At 10 East, right here at our studio, 10 East Lexington Street. It's open to the public, networking, some hors d'oeuvres, some a live DJ, our own DJ Twist from our happy hour show. He'll be spinning that day. This one is being sponsored by Sisters in Strength. Awesome organization that seeks to empower and uplift women in this community. So definitely come on out. You get to broadcast and promote yourself live on air, network with some other incredible artists, community leaders, and entrepreneurs from the DMV area. So definitely mark your calendars from May the 14th to 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. here live at the Be Exposed Radio Studio, 110 East Lexington Street, Suite 200. So real quick, I'm gonna push it over to him so Marcus, so he can give you his social media sites, let you know where you can find him, and then we're gonna take a brief break, and we'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show. So I'm gonna jump it over to you, Mr. Marcus. Let us know where we can find you. Someone wants to book you or anything like that.
Yes. My name is Marcus Shaw. You can find me on Facebook, spelled MARCUS spacebar SHAW. And then I'm also on Snapchat. You can find me at Black Man with a Plan. It's spelled BLACKMANWDAPLAN.
There we go.
That's where you can find me.
We're gonna take a brief break. We'll be back with Mr. Marcus Shaw, the Black Man with a Plan, after this short break. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show on BeExposedRadio.com. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is, because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org, because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council.
Check out this flashback on the happy hour.
One of the questions I definitely wanted to ask you is, because everyone knows that mother, father, sister, brother, cousin that knows how to do taxes. Yes. Usually that's that person, me. Listen, no. I'm joking.
But seriously.
Right?
But seriously.
And they end up going to these people, getting their taxes done for like maybe $20, $50. I mean, a dime bag, whatever. And then the next year they realize they owe like $10,000-$15,000. Can you break us down the do's and don'ts when it comes to taxes?
Well, let me say this first. You got to remember, like Mama used to say, you're gonna get what you paid for.
Yeah.
Okay. The do's and the don'ts. Seek out not seek out information. Just don't say, oh, okay, well, because I've seen professional tax preparers get people all this money back, and IRS lock her up, lock them up,
Like Pookie and Craig.
And I'm talking about police department, fire department, all of them, and then they had to come to me to fix it. You know what I'm saying? So the do's and the don'ts of it. If you have a dependent, make sure that you can claim that dependent.
Got it.
Even if the dependent is your mother, if it's a parent, it's a brother.
Cece, you listening?
Right.
Okay.
If it's your brother, your sister, remember, a lot, the rules are that they have to be like say if it's your brother, they have to be disabled. Even if you have a disabled child, they have to be disabled.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you the sole caretaker of your mother, brother, father, you may not get earned income credit for it, but you still get the exemption for it. Everybody's looking to get earned income credit. If you make $100,000 a year, you are not getting earned income credit.
No matter how many kids you got.
No matter I don't care if you had 20.
What's
you're
usually
not getting earned
the
income credit
cutoff for that? Like,
I'm sorry, say it again.
is there a certain amount of money? Like, what's the cutoff?
I think
usually?
this year the cutoff for it is 45 for 2 kids.
Okay.
45,000.
45,000 for like 2 kids. I think it's 45,000 for 2 or 3 kids.
Okay.
Or something like that. I think it is this year. Every year it changes.
Okay.
And it goes down. You know what I'm saying? It goes down to like maybe like $60, $70. Now, if you are a single person,
Yes, let's hear this.
with no dependents, and you're over 25, you can also get earned income credit, but you had to make under $15,000.
Oh, child.
Where do they do that?
If you make under $15,000, you'll automatically get
but what do I do
pumping
for the rest
gas
of the
or
year, though?
bagging
I have to
groceries.
live.
Well, that's not true. I mean,
For this and more, be sure to tune in to Be Exposed Radio to catch what you missed on the happy hour every Thursday from 7 o'clock p.m. to 9 o'clock p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com.
Check out what you missed on Be Exposed Radio.
Listen to Elizabeth Warren talking about Black lives and Black life.
Police are not occupying armies. This is America, not a war zone. I speak today with full knowledge that I have not personally experienced and can never truly understand the fear, the oppression, and the pain that confronts African Americans every day.
Don't you just want to kill yourself? I mean, not from what she was saying, but from the music that was playing in the background. I just want to, oh gosh, but every word she said was prolific, and it did not come from what is now becoming mainstream as white privilege. She has a sensibility about her, and the way she speaks about different things that has, from the first time I saw her, I can't remember what state she's in. I think she's in like North Carolina or something like that, somewhere I'm not going. That some kind of sensibility about her that makes me like her for president. But she's not running.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back. We're here live on the Artist Exchange radio show on BeExposedRadio.com with Mr. Marcus Shaw, Mr. Poet, activist. In the break, we were talking a little bit about the controversy around him about a year ago.
No, it was 2 months ago.
2 months ago. Wow. That is crazy, because I'm thinking this happened in your junior year, but this actually happened in your senior year. So part of the issue was he wrote a poem, and I'll let you tell the story.
Yes, so in my junior year, I was given an assignment by my 11th grade English teacher, Miss Sava.
Mm-hmm.
She told me to write about how I see America.
Right.
And so I wrote Believe Me. It's a poem that basically implores everybody to defy the stereotypes that restrict you and move on and succeed in spite of them.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's my experience as well as the experience of many African Americans, I wrote about the police in part of that poem. And it was well received when I wrote it for the assignment. It was well received when I submitted it to the literary arts magazine call-a-thon at our school.
Okay.
But it wasn't well received when I tried to perform it from the senior talent show. It was actually in a way censored, and it was not going to be said at the senior talent show originally. And when I talked to my principal about why she denied it, it was very frustrating for me to hear her reasoning, because she thought that it would be offensive and that it was inflammatory against the police and very much uncomfortable for people to listen to. And she even called the school resource officer in to talk to me about why the police officer about why the poem cannot be said. And so after that frustrating conversation, I went home. I told my mother, and she went in guns blazing, yelling, ready to fight the school. And the principal stayed strong in her opinion. And then like a week or two later, I was approached by one of my classmates, Crystal Alexis, and she told me that she was going to create a petition. And we created the petition, and in 3 days, it garnered over 2,000 signatures, and she changed her decision.
So you ended up being able to perform it?
Yes, I did.
At the talent show.
Being able to perform.
Was it awkward still knowing how much your leader didn't want you to do it?
It wasn't really awkward to me in that sense. It was actually pretty empowering, because I made something happen, and like the people who signed this also believed in me and my poem. I feel like it was exposed more because she originally said no, which was the plan to begin with, just to get that dialogue going on racial relations in America. And yeah, so when I performed it, I was very, very happy that I got to perform in front of a lot of people. And and also I remember I'm also the class president, so we were doing that for the senior talent show. It's
and you wrote for the paper. You were over the paper that at your school as well.
Yep. And yeah, so I'm the class president, and we were trying to raise money with that senior talent show, and we were able to double tickets after like that whole fiasco, double ticket prices. So
it really just listening to the story and hearing it now straight from your mouth, I would been the first thing I would have done was I would want to hear from the teacher who turned it in. Like, why would you turn this in? Or what was your teacher's reasons for sharing this with the principal or whoever was in charge of that class, or turning it in? I mean, how did your principal hear about the poem?
Yes. So I had to audition for the senior talent show. And when I auditioned, I was instructed to give a copy of the poem to the teacher who was in charge of the talent show. And so I was told by Crystal Alexis that the teacher gave it to the principal, and the principal said no, it can't be said, and that I could talk to the principal about it more if I wanted to.
It's just amazing. We're gonna take another quick break. And we'll be right back with Mr. Marcus Shaw, the Black Man with a Plan, here live on the Artist Exchange radio show. Don't forget, we're live streaming, so you can actually tune in to our website and listen directly, either from the website or go to YouTube at Be Exposed Radio and tune in live and listen in. Share us, like us with all your friends. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange radio show on BeExposedRadio.com.
You're struggling with your mortgage. You think about it. You don't do anything but think about it.
What are we going to do if we lose the house? Where are we going to go?
At work.
I can't let anybody find out. I'm so embarrassed.
At dinner.
How can I tell the kids? It's going to wreck their lives.
And at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get through this. What's going to happen to us?
It's time to stop thinking. It's time to start dialing. Call 1-888-995-HOPE for a free government program that offers expert one-on-one advice about your mortgage options.
I'm all alone.
No, you're not. We've helped over 1 million homeowners, and we want to help you. And now there are more ways to help. Call 1-888-995-HOPE or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
Check out this flashback.
Oh, you like a prostitute or something? Like you can't.
I got it.
No. I was always in sales. Like I've been in sales since I was like 14, and I could sell anything. You know, I could sell salt to a snail. I could sell ice to a polar bear. So it's like, you know, I done
He
sold.
was working.
Yeah, I was working.
Okay,
I was working.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
So I was in sales. Sold cars and sold this and sold that, and
I feel you.
My biggest thing was, like I said, I never been down with the whole you know, giving your money to people that's already rich.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? And I feel that as an entrepreneur, you know, when you see like black businesses, Latino business, because I grew up in Texas, so I grew up around blacks and Latinos, and just support your community, support everybody. You know, I will support everybody's community, support the world and all that. But at the same time, it's like be an entrepreneur yourself, invest in yourself, and invest in what you believe. And I just don't think that we should give money to these dudes that's already rich, that's already been making money. Like, why?
I agree.
You know,
I'm working on that. I'm trying to be where you are.
Invest in yourself. You know, that's my thing. You know, and it's just, I've actually reached out to a lot of folk on Instagram that got their own club. Like, I got a homeboy in Baltimore that owns a clothing line called 1616.
I've seen them.
You know, it's the homie KJ. And KJ, like, we clicked off instant, you know. Shout out 1616, y'all doing it. But you know, he holds it down for the city of Baltimore. He loves his city, and that's what he does. And his whole thing is based out of Baltimore. But he showed me, you know, some skills and some ways to, you know, make my company better, make our brand better. And you know, it's I buy his clothes, he buys my clothes, and stuff like that. You know, it's just investing. You know, invest in your people, man. If your people got something, just believe in them. You know, send money their way. The richer, because you always got to remember, like, the richer you get, the richer your people gonna get with you. And then y'all get rich together.
For this and more, be sure to tune in to Be Exposed Radio to catch what you miss on the happy hour every Thursday from 7 o'clock p.m. to 9 o'clock p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com.
Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Artist Exchange Live.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Starts now.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
TGIW, everybody. Welcome to the Be Inspired Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
I'm sure that's a real bad. It's a dirty ass motherfucking world, nigga, and I keep shit 100.
Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Artist Exchange Live.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Starts now.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live on BeExposedRadio.com. We're here. I'm joined by Mr. Marcus Shaw. He's a poet, a senior about to graduate from Towson High School. And he also had a lot of controversy around himself and his work in trying to be a part of his school's talent show. Question, did you publish that play? I mean, that poem, or?
Yeah, the poem is published in the Towson High School's literary arts magazine, Colophon.
Was that an issue, or?
No issue at all.
But you did that before the talent show?
Yes, sir.
So how I'm great. I want to talk to her now. That's my thing. Not even to bash, but just, and I understand that culture, especially in the area. Are you from that Towson area?
No, I was actually born in Hoboken, New Jersey, and I'm the son of a Marine. So I moved around a lot. I lived in Boston, Massachusetts, as well as Temecula, California, and finally Towson, Maryland.
So, what are your parents' stance on this? Like, how do they feel?
My mom was at first she said, well, you know how it goes. They were gonna let you say that. And then she thought more and more about it, and she said, there's actually nothing wrong with that poem. You should definitely be able to say it. Exactly. And so when she went in and talked to the principal, she was very adamant about asking her why she thought it was offensive. Like she said
what was
that
her
it was
response?
concerning. Oh, my mom would basically go in there. So you said my son's poem was offensive? She's like, yes. And yeah. So my mother was concerned with that aspect of it. That my
because
work was
obviously she
offensive.
didn't read it and she didn't take into consideration the population of people she had at her school either and how they
Possibly.
felt about it. And that's the educational system in general, whether it's a county school or a city school, the administrative staff and the people who make the legislation and pass the rules and sets the guidelines, they don't think about the population. Just like the leaders that we have of our city, they don't think about the population. So they sit in their backroom meetings and have discussions and make laws and guidelines and restrictions for people who they haven't even talked to. Or so that would have been an awesome assembly to have, or a discussion to have
Yes,
with
without a
the
doubt.
body of the school to see and explain her point of view and hear yours and make a decision based on that and not just I don't like this and I have plenty of cop friends and this is disrespectful to them. People who aren't the day-to-day business of her school, she's letting that define how she regulates her school. I would be very interested to know how many police officers that she knows who've probably gotten into trouble. I would want to know that.
Yeah.
That would be, those statistics would be really interesting to me. So we're gonna let that go a little bit and talk more about your poetry and why you are a writer and why have you chosen poetry to be your forefront.
Yes. So I am a poet because I, for a very long time, have not been happy with the treatment of African Americans in America.
Mhm.
And I really feel that it needs to change. And a good way of expressing my misgivings with the current system is
Mhm.
through poetry. And it's really cathartic to me and I really enjoy doing it, and it's been with me ever since my freshman year of high school. So
you've lived in some interesting places, and to come to Baltimore, the one of the largest Black communities that we have here in the state, to face something like that. But you've lived in places that you would expect for it to happen there,
Exactly.
but to come here, how has your experience as far as traveling and living in different places? How is it different from Baltimore? Or how is it similar, or what has the experience been overall?
Yeah, so I live in Towson, so I can't really talk to like Baltimore
Mhm.
because I haven't that's not really my surroundings.
But you just experienced
Yeah,
Baltimore.
exactly. Yeah, without a doubt. And so when I got to Towson, that's kind of one of the first times I really discovered my Blackness in a way,
Mhm.
because in a way my parents are middle class. I would act white in a way, and they would call
Right.
me out on that in Towson and say, you act like you're not really like those other Black kids or whatever. And
Mhm.
what does that
Is
mean?
that a compliment?
No,
or is that
exactly. Is that a compliment? How do you
Mhm.
feel about me? What does that mean? And I don't know, to me that like made me really go into that whole civil rights activism thing even more, because
You're feeling it directly.
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
That is a strange thing. I remember, like I said, I went to white school, so I understand people looking at you a certain way,
Yep.
and not and you're just being yourself. That's who
Exactly.
you are. The way you talk is the way you talk. It isn't something that you adopted, even though there
Exactly.
are people who adopt that
Yes.
persona, but this is who you are. This is how you, and it's often confusing to hear people say something like that. On family side, it's strange. Friends, it's like, but then when you start hearing the greater public say it, it then sounds a lot different.
Yes.
And you're just being who you are. I remember really changing the way that I talked just to appease people.
Yeah.
And it was really because I took a lot of speech classes because I had a speech impediment growing up, and being in theater where you're taught to enunciate overly dramatically. So a bunch of that went into how I spoke, and it was really strange hearing people say it. And I'm quite sure you've heard that from a lot of people that you went to school with, because they have a perception of what you should be.
Yes.
And when they hear something different, then it's strange to them. Yes. And I never knew whether it was a compliment or are you putting me down in this moment, or like how am I supposed to take this?
Yes.
So how do you relate to those people? How do you still deal or be a part of them friendships when you know they have a perception of you that is different from what you actually are?
That is a great question. I've never really thought about it like that before. I don't know. I just stay true to myself because I know who I am as a person, and I'm not gonna let what they say dictate how I feel about myself. And I will continue to do me.
Right.
And they're still like cool with me. It's not like we have any problems, and they're not gonna make it a problem. So I just really stay true to myself and stay in my own lane. And if they have a problem with it, we don't really need to be together, really.
So coming on, well, this is the year anniversary of the uprise here in Baltimore. And because you're not in the city, you don't live in the city, you probably were watching it on the news like everybody else. How did that then shape your perception of Baltimore City, or Black culture, or how people treat Black people, or how we are perceived in this country?
It was saddening to me because I just felt like we missed an opportunity to really just set an example for what Black excellence is, and like how we handle different issues with our community instead of writing and all that, because people see that and they think that everybody is like that, and it's not true in the least. And it kind of made me think of if we had a Martin Luther, if we had a Malcolm X, and we were all in order, like we need a leader to really keep us unified. And it was also interesting because not everybody was rioting. There were some people who I remember there was a man on CNN. It was an older guy. He fought in a war, and he was trying to protect the streets, trying to protect people's shops, and telling people, young men, to go inside, to stop rioting, to stop burning down the city. And that was very jarring and powerful to me, because there are people who care, and yet that
more
was
than the people who don't care.
Yeah, exactly. They far outnumber that, and that's not what's going to be seen. And another thing that's really interesting is I'm at Towson. I'm sitting next to one of my white friends. They said, "You know what? It would be fun if I could just riot with them. Like, I would say, like, if I could, I would just go in there and riot with them." And it's like, I wouldn't. Like, I definitely wouldn't. And that's the thing. Like, some white people have that same feeling that African Americans feel. And also, I just thought it was really just an example of like the pain that African Americans go through, that they're
more
just
so the frustration.
things.
I think
frustration, pain. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly that African Americans go through to be pushed over the edge to that level of destroying even things that are your own.
And it to me, it felt like years. Somebody who's lived in Baltimore for a long time and have family and friends here who've lived here forever. It really what we got to see, because I chose not to look at the news, because being on the radio, I saw publicly because this was the street that our station is on was the street that they went through to get to City Hall. So I saw the positive reinforcements. That's not what they showed you. They showed you snippets of that. Everything else was that 30-second loop of what happened the first 1 or 2 days of it. And that was the disheartening part because that's what people saw. Like in the middle of that, I went to the harbor and there was nobody there. And I remember taking pictures and selfies and like family members that live in other states like, boy, get out of the streets. What are you doing? I'm like, this is
the street.
Nothing is happening here. You're watching something that happened days ago here. It's not like that. It's actually blank on the streets right now. So I really, it is disheartening to see what people did as a result of their frustration and anger and just it was a couple people who just did it because they saw somebody else doing it. And that's the sad part. And I for me, I looked at more so the positive that was going on. There was a poll that was just put out and people said, well, what did you see when you looked at it? I chose not to see that part of it because I knew that was a reaction from people who just was waiting for an opportunity to do that anyway. But I saw more of it turned into a big block party almost, trying to get the peace to come. And since then, I think the city has been strained and it's forced people to like each other. If you were like you were in Towson looking at the news, it either made you want to get into the city and see it for yourself or really kept you in Towson. And I think a lot of people, they're now split. It's not so much of a gray area anymore. It's more black and white now. So you either really don't like the city anymore or you really want to be a part of what's going on in the city. So we see that a lot with the growth and all that's going on. Being a poet, what inspiration did you get in writing about it?
I have one of my poems here that I might perform later. I think you talked to me about performing a poem or two. And one of them talks about like leadership, like we need a leader to unify us. That was definitely an influence. And I just remember it was really depressing for me and like I needed to write about it because it wasn't just Freddie Gray, like it just kept piling on. Like I remember I walked into the YMCA and the TV's on and they're playing the news. And I walk in and they're talking about how a police officer shot and killed an unarmed 19-year-old black man in Wisconsin in his own apartment.
It's crazy. And a lot of those clips were older than Freddie Gray.
Yes, without a doubt. And
Did you have fear about being a black person, period, in that moment? Or could this happen to me? Did you start looking at yourself as being a target? Because we clearly see it has nothing to do with where you're from or your social standing or anything.
Yes, so I applied to colleges recently, and I knew that I did not want to apply anywhere in the South. I was very afraid of applying south of like the Mason-Dixon line because stuff like that could happen.
And I hear a lot of people say they felt that about any university in the last year, specifically in Baltimore or in this DMV area. College enrollment dropped drastically.
That's terrible.
And it was hard because they didn't have to lay a lot of people off in the last year. But enrollment drastically went down around the city, not just in the black university, HBCUs here, but around the city. Because a lot of people come to Baltimore and come to cities like this because we are a small college town. There are probably like 12 colleges in this area.
Without a doubt.
But they definitely saw a drastic decline in enrollment because people didn't want to be a part of that. People didn't trust their children coming here. People didn't want to make that decision. And both the undergrad and like upper higher education, like master's and PhD programs, saw a drastic decline in their enrollment. And we have to connect it directly to what's going on because we saw it across the country, not just here in Baltimore City, which was crazy. It felt like once that happened, it was just like these fires just kept getting set across the country.
Yes.
So where are you choosing to go to college?
I am choosing to go to college in New Hampshire, Dartmouth College.
Okay.
And very excited about
that. He said,
that.
I want a quiet existence.
Yeah.
It's a nice school.
Without a doubt.
So what are you planning on taking up?
I think I'm going to study English because my goal is to become a civil rights attorney, and I feel like a greater command of the English language will help you become an attorney.
Wow. When did the attorney aspect come into play?
Oh yeah, so at Towson High School, I'm part of the Law and Public Policy program because Towson High is a magnet school. And really, I remember I was talking to my dad. He's a lawyer in the military, and I was saying, I want to be a civil rights activist. I want to be an activist. And he was trying to tell me that, you can really refine that. You don't have to be just a activist. You can be an attorney creating laws like Thurgood Marshall, Julian Bond, Michelle Alexander, the new Jim Crow. Yeah.
And it's good. Like and we're going to go to a quick break, but in closing, being an activist doesn't mean, the lawyer, Thurgood Marshall was just as much of an activist as Sidney Poitier was, as Martin was, as you and I could be. So that word really encompasses so many different levels because we need people at every different area of that word.
Front of the fight.
Right. To really make change. We're going to take a quick break, pay some bills. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show on BeExposedRadio.com. Don't go anywhere. Don't forget to give us a call, 410-702-5657, or you can text in and talk to Mr. Shaw, the Black Man with a Plan, at 443-642-9403. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show on BeExposedRadio.com.
Check out what you missed on Be Exposed Radio.
I don't like stuff in my mouth. It's after what you was talking about.
It's in this commercial closing.
No, seriously, I don't. I'm a germaphobe. Everything on your body is dirty.
Everything.
So I'm damn sure I ain't gonna put it in my mouth. That's probably why I'm single. Thank you.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
When you were a little kid and you thought about what you wanted to be, teaching was at the top of your list. But things changed. And as you got older, teaching didn't seem like the best option anymore. So you're thinking you'll be something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Now you want to be a doctor. You don't think teachers save lives? 25 at a time. An actress? Try playing a different role every time the bell rings. How about a scientist? Ever heard of physics? Chemistry? Who do you think teaches that? Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, and taking learning far beyond the four walls of the classroom. It's time to recognize that great things are happening in teaching and put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more.
Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the
It
National
doesn't say
Highway
alleged
Traffic
anywhere in here.
This is the wrong song to play
They're
underneath
saying,
this topic.
they're saying 4 years ago, according to a $20 million lawsuit, the plaintiff, who was also not named,
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live on BeExposedRadio.com. We are here with Mr. Marcus Shaw. We're here with Marcus Shaw here on the Artist Exchange Show. Don't forget that we're live streaming from YouTube. Definitely check us out. If you missed the first part of the show, you can definitely check out the entire interview and all parts on YouTube right after the show is finished. But definitely use YouTube as a live streaming. You can go to the website www.beexposedradio.com and check out all our new updates, our new features, blog entries, all of that jazz. And Mr. Marcus is going to do one of his poems right now for us. It is actually untitled. So if you have a title for him, give us a call. Give him a suggestion. So when you're ready, sir?
Yes, sir. The fire within me burns with intensity, and it will for all eternity, because success is a drink, and I'm thirsty. My body is 90% water, so I must drink. What else is there to think? I'm willing to sink to the depths below through a hole that's filled with sorrow in order to grow and achieve my goals. But the establishment makes my progress slow. I resolve to go farther than I was told, but the establishment believes that I don't have a soul. It wants to see me poor, living on the bottom floor, while others are in the penthouse, keeping brothers and sisters out. But I can't voice this in the wrong place, in this police state. Got no free speech in these mean streets. That's why they say, get your hands behind your back. And I say, get your hands off that gat. You try to stop my progress while I demand due process. You say, know your place. Well, how my back look as I win this race. I better stop. Better not end up dead, shot in the head, left to bleed without even a shred of compassion. How can anyone rationalize the lies and the crimes that they use to justify letting black lives die while the man is busy wearing a tie, watching time rewind back to the day where every black was his slave? And I know that I will enter my grave before I accept the establishment's constraints.
That's what's up. Okay. Where do you, when you are sitting down to write, are you a person that can either just sit down and just it comes out, or you have to feel something, or something has to happen, or you got to see something? What gets you started at writing?
Yeah, so it really depends on my mood. Like sometimes I could say, "Oh, I want to write. I want to write right now," and I can just write it out. But other times, I need to be feeling like pretty motivated in a negative or a positive way. Meaning like, am I trying to promote positivity? Am I trying to like respond to something negative that's happened. And when I write, it's pretty easy. Like I kind of think about like the message I'm trying to promote,
right?
And then I think of words that I can rhyme with. I kind of put them at the end, and then I get to the word, and I get to the word, I get to the word.
So you have a method to the madness
exactly
in your writing structure.
In a way.
So what was the first poem you wrote?
The first poem I wrote, it was called "To Be a Black Man in America," and it was like to be a black man.
You got
in America,
some strong titles,
yeah.
What does that mean to you?
What does that mean to me? It definitely means being the best that you can be, exemplify excellence, succeed despite what others expect from you, and just strength and power.
Do you have any misconceptions about Black culture that you have yet to answer, or that you've had answered for you already?
I know that whole like misconception about like African Americans not being smart. That's definitely not true. There's a lot of smart African Americans all over. Misconceptions. Trying to think like. Do you have an example of a misconception? That
education is one of the ones.
Yeah.
A lot of us don't want to learn. We don't want better for ourselves. We're satisfied with just the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah. So I am a part of this mentoring group. That my friend Randall Ainsworth, a fellow African American law student in our at Townsend High School, started, and he created this mentorship program where we take the troubled kids, the underprivileged kids in our school, and we just talk to them and we mentor them. And from talking to them, you understand that they are intelligent human beings. They may act up, but it's not from like what you would think.
Just
like
being
they
bad
have
in general.
Yeah, exactly. They have issues that they deal with that 75-90% of the school could not deal with. Like I hear what they're going through, and they still manage to get to school. They still manage to put up a fight on trying to do the work that sometimes is too difficult. And they should be applauded and not really reprimanded for what they're doing.
So looking at that before you were exposed to it or enlightened on that as a possibility, what then have you learned about judging someone or measuring someone just by face value?
You cannot do that, especially with African Americans. Like, you don't know what their story is at all. You have no idea what they've gone through. Like, I remember my mother was telling me a story about my dad, and I've known my dad for 17 years. I've never heard the story from him. To this day, I still haven't heard the story, but my mom has told me that one time he was swimming in the pool, and all the white people got out of the pool when he was swimming.
Wow. So we're going to take a quick break. We got to pay those bills. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show with Mr. Marcus Shaw on BeExposedRadio.com. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. It's hard.
Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is, because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org, because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council.
Only in the forest can you see this. And this. And this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
I didn't know it can do that!
Because one trip to the forest can spark a world of difference.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go, like hiking, canoeing, fishing, or camping. Or create your own adventure with family and friends, and you might just see this. Your moment's out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
What are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
Well, what are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. Don't you remember me? Don't you know that we miss you?
Miss me? Who misses me?
You know, all your friends in the forest. The trees, the pond, that little fort that you made out of branches. We all miss you.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
The forest is not that far away. Have an adventure today. I'm sure your mom would take you.
You're right. I should get out. I want to have fun. Play in puddles, catch frogs, and climb trees. Hey, Mom!
Yeah, hon. Steven, what is that in your hand?
It's my sense of adventure, Mom. It's telling me we need to get out of the house and have some fun in nature today.
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby.
Radio show.
You are true to yourself. You walk that, and you walk it with your head up, because yes, I have this gangster in me. I can do this. I will persevere. I will keep moving. We have Black women who are dealing with mental issues. We have Black women who are dealing with health issues. We have Black women who are dealing with self-esteem issues. We have Black women who are just dealing with issues, child. So as you try to figure out, why am I here? What's my purpose? And that can bring you down. And you have to.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back. We're here live on the Artist Exchange Radio Show on BeExposedRadio.com. We have a young man. We have a text message. I can't see it. So we're here live with Mr. Marcus Shaw. He was sharing some of his experiences with us, and he just shared one of his poems with us. We have a phone call.
Hello, this is Chris Shaw, Marcus's dad.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
How's it going?
It's good. Is this the radio station?
This is the radio station. Who are we talking to?
You're talking to Chris Shaw, Marcus's dad.
Hello, Mr. Shaw. How are you doing today, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. This is a great program you have. I heard that I was mentioned, so I thought I'd call in.
How you doing, Mr. Shaw? Please, you have an awesome young man as a son. I'm really thankful that you have taught him so much. He's very poised and very professional. So I have to give him that much credit. Man. So do you have any questions, or do you have any insight about Mr.
No, certainly I can provide some insights if you know, certainly the incident that happened at the Harvard Model UN in Boston back when I was in, beginning high school was an issue of as an African American going into a pool, and all the white folks hopped out of the pool and went into the hot tub, and then I'd go in the hot tub and they'd hop into the pool. And we kind of did that back and forth to see how long that would last. But just insightful that even at a refined place where we were trying to all get educated, that there are some folks that were ignorant.
So how do you prepare Marcus for that experience? And we may not know that specifically, but how do you prepare him for a life? No matter how educated he becomes, he'll always be a Black man.
I think the reality is that we have to be prepared for all contingencies. And much like you said, like I think Marcus said quite prophetically, that you never know where an African American is coming from, in the sense of that, some guy that looks a certain way may be quite educated, and someone that looks quite educated may not be, because that's the nature of some of our reality. is that people will come at you from different perspectives. And I think that if you maintain a certain level of decorum, if you maintain a certain level of education, if you maintain a certain way of talking to people, then oftentimes people will respond to you differently. I mean, you know, when I've been pulled over, you know, driving while black, and I think oftentimes the way I approach the police officers in those situations calm down the situation because they recognize that I'm not the one. And that doesn't mean that, that certainly doesn't mean that that gives license to police or authorities to do things incorrectly with other folks that may not have a collared shirt on or may have a hoodie on. It doesn't give anyone license to do that. But I try to maintain myself a certain way so that if someone gets it wrong, that very quickly they realize that it'll get worse for them if they try to do some of the things that they do with some of our individuals that may not be dressed a certain way, may not have a level of education, you know, because that really doesn't matter. I mean, we should treat people with dignity and respect regardless of what they're wearing, their diction. But certainly I think one of the ways you can mitigate it is by carrying yourself a certain way so that people know who you're dealing with.
And some of the one of the questions that I have for you specifically, I'm glad that you called in. Being a man who has a college degree and who has a very established career in ahead of him, what are some pointers that you can give to young people when they're presented? Because young people know to just jump to anger. I'm frustrated. I may not know or have the tools to express myself creatively enough to diffuse a situation before it gets to that point. What can you tell them, specifically young people, before they get to that point, how to diffuse a situation when they're presented with it?
Well, I got to tell you that, and I say this, you know, I'm a Marine, and I've been in the service for probably 27 years. So I've been prepared to die for my country, to die for people's freedoms for my whole adult life. So I love America. I love the opportunities that America presents. At the same time, sometimes I'm troubled with some of the things I see in America. So, you know, it is okay to love all of the great things that the United States produces, but it's also okay to be critical of what the United States does. With all that, and in the Marine Corps, I've had the opportunity to travel all over the world. The United States is still a place of opportunity, a place where, you know, a kid whose parents were immigrants gets to join the Marine Corps, go to the Naval Academy, become a lawyer, become an infantry officer, leading men, then becoming a lawyer in the Marine Corps. And currently I'm an advisor for, you know, a relatively senior person in the military. So there's still lots of opportunity. The specific advice that I have, though, having in the background that there is all this opportunity in America, which is a flawed state. It's a flawed country. Like everything's flawed in the world. But recognizing that there is opportunity is to really figure out, what do you want to do? How do you want to make your mark? How do you want to sustain your family? What do you really want to do? And understand that in the United States, in America, if you have a desire to do something, you have more opportunities to do that in the United States than you do anywhere else in the world. Having said that, now you have to say, I want to be a physician, or I want to be a lawyer, or I want to be a president, or, you know, I want to be an artist, or whatever it is. And specifically what I tell Marcus is that there are checklists of what you need to do, and there are official checklists and there are unofficial checklists. And figure out what that checklist is. Figure out what the official checklist is, figure out what the unofficial checklist is, and start working towards that checklist. And if you do that, I think you're gonna find success 90% of the time. I think the other challenge is that I think a lot of us in our community don't recognize how difficult it is to make it. And what that means is that, you know, like even my son, he got into an Ivy League school. That's great and that's wonderful, and you know, I'm proud. I'm happy for him. But he also would stay up until like 3 o'clock in the morning doing homework. So there's two parts of it, and I think, and I'll say even for me, you know, I grew up in the hood, and I didn't know how much work it was to get the things that you need to get, and I had to learn it. You know, I learned it in high school. I then learned it in college. You know, from some of my roommates that weren't black. I mean, the college I went to, like I think 10% were African American, and I learned a work ethic, an even greater work ethic of how to study, and it took time. And then even in law school, when I was in law school, very quickly I learned that if I was going to be successful, I had to work Saturday or Sunday. Like that was the only way I was going to get all the work in.
Right.
And I think once we recognize that,
sacrifice.
The sacrifice, and again, a sacrifice of time, a sacrifice of, you know, I always tell Marcus that, you know, people that are good at things, they have to get their reps in. You know, so when we think about like the quarterback, when we think about, you know, again, Michael Jordan, athletes, when we think about, you know, presidents, when we think about folks that are really successful, they are doing a whole lot of work. And you may look at them and they look like swans on the top of the water, and everything's smooth and everything's good to go. But under, they're working hard. So, you know, I remember there was a time when I was at law school, and it was Monday night, and I'm watching the NFL, you know, up until like 11, 12 o'clock. And they talked about the coaches in the NFL really don't like, I mean, they like Monday night games, but they don't like Monday night games because right after that, like after the game ends at 11 o'clock, they got to start getting their plan together to get ready for next Sunday. So while this NFL coach who makes millions of dollars is working a game on a Monday night and is working through the morning, I'm watching him, not doing my homework. And then afterwards, I'm going to sleep, being less prepared for my law school class, and I'm not established. So, I mean, very quickly, I was like, you know, what's going on? So there's a lot of work that has to be done. And I think that America still is a place that if you work hard, you work smart, you figure out what the things are that you need to do, that you can find success.
And just knowing that preparation is the biggest part of anything. You have to prepare yourself. So it does feel easy and you can reap the benefits of it, but it's never easy. And I thank you for that message, sir. Thank you for this young man that's sitting in front of me so I can clearly see from which he came. So I really appreciate you calling in. And we got to get you on here sometime because I need to hear some of that education, that wisdom also.
No doubt. Well, thank you for what you do. Thank you for having my son. And Marcus, I'm quite proud of you, so keep it up.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for calling in. We're going to take a
Sounds
quick
good.
break. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange radio show with Mr. Marcus, the black man with a plan. I said it wrong, didn't I?
No, you said it right.
Okay, I said it right. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange radio show on BeExposedRadio.com. We have some questions, some text messages coming in, so definitely hit us with yours. Let us know what you think. Say hello, how you doing to Mr. Marcus, and we'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange radio show.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to today's graduation ceremony. Students, when you hear the reason or reasons for your absences throughout the years, please exit the auditorium without your high school diploma.
Once you've exited, remove your cap and gown and proceed into the unknown. Too tired. Family trip. Part-time job. Helping around the house. Sick day. Starting the holidays early. Just because.
Starting in the 6th grade, students who miss 18 days or more of school in a year for any reason will fall behind and risk not graduating high school. How many days of school has your child missed this year? Absences add up. Keep track at boostattendance.org today. Brought to you by the U.S. Army and the Ad Council.
Thank you for tuning in to BeExposedRadio.com. Sit back, relax, and listen to this flashback of the Artist Exchange radio show.
Football, you basically have a good 10 to 12 years, and that's what it is.
When you have a lot of people retiring early, it's funny. A lot of me and my alumni from UVA, where I graduated from, one of our fellow Wahoos, he retired yesterday, 32 years old. To Shaw Ferguson, and he's been in the league like 10 or 12 years. So like you said, a lot of guys are making that change on their own now because they're seeing a lot of things from the concussion movement,
right?
Stuff that's been happening. Is not the noun, is the effects later, because you see different stories of men are in like their 50s and some are committing suicide because of the banging and the voices or the concussions. And
did you see that?
I haven't got a chance to see it. But
not the movie, but did you see those effects?
I have seen concussions in college where guys have played that whole entire game and didn't realize they was at a football game.
Wow.
But like before the big emphasis came about whole concussions and what's going on, we was taught you just run to the wall. You can't be soft. You shake it off and get back in it. So
the wrong attitude to have.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really internal. Like you really doing damage, not just to your bones,
right,
but to your mind.
Everything.
Right.
And later on down the line, because just like you said, once the game is over, when you've been in a game and you think about it, because I tell people the NFL, any sports, whether it's male or female, is a semi-military because you're told when to get up, when to work out, what to eat, when to play. All right, now you got a curfew, you got to be in the bed by this time. You do it for years and years, and all of a sudden, bam, it's done. So what do you do?
Right.
So just like in a military that have with PTSD. We similar have that because we so used to having a certain way. And I remember watching this Brian Gumbel on HBO, it was like years ago, and a guy would act like he was getting dressed, a real good football player, would walk his daughter to the bus stop, and he would come back in the house, close the curtains, and just sit there because he didn't know how else to handle himself. Because he was so used to being told what to do because our schedule are laid out. By this time, you got to do this. By this time, you got to do this. Eat at this time, back on the field. So,
hey, what's up? This is Nate, host of the Artist Exchange radio show. Tune in every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. and every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artists, real talk, real live, here live on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back. We're here live on the Artist Exchange radio show on BeExposedRadio.com. We're going to open up this segment with another piece. I believe it's called Leadership. Leader by Marcus Shaw.
Leader. We need a leader in order for us to be the defeaters of the Black Lives Beaters. A man who will take a stand against the chain of command that is Uncle Sam. A man that can make grounds quake and leave justice in his wake for the sake of everyone who wants to shake loose the shackles that the establishment uses to tackle Black lives to the ground. And they kick these Black lives while they're down. We need a leader who can channel his rage into a movement that will engage and enrage every American, no matter race, gender, or age, to the point where we arrange a stage of unity where everyone is on the same page.
Okay. This young man, he has a lot to say, and he has the words to say it. During the last segment, we got a couple text messages. The first questions were, what things can students do to get their voices and perspectives heard in high school or society, just in general?
Yes, so there are definitely a lot of things that students can do to get their voices heard. And definitely one of them is talking to your teachers, because your teachers know you much more personally than administration knows you. And tell them what you want to accomplish. Like, for example, I know I wanted to start a writing club at my school. So I talked to one of my friends, and he had a teacher that decided to really be our advisor for the whole program, and we got to host it in her room for 2 years now. And I'm very thankful to Miss Doratone and Mark Nagy for helping me set that up. Also, you can talk to the administration. That's another route, because I know of a young woman who is my neighbor who wants to create a Black student union, and she went to the administration about it. And but beforehand, she did the groundwork. She contacted other schools that have Black student unions, tried to become a part of a greater like national organization that includes the Black student unions, got signatures for people who would say that they would be a part of preparation. And she even got some flack because some people tried to steal her idea and tried to just like, while she was doing the groundwork, they went up to the principal and said, "Oh, we want a Black student union. Make it happen." And then she came back with all of her groundwork, all of her signatures showing that it was her idea first. And also she did another thing where she got like all the football players, all the basketball players to promise to abstain from sports if they did not let her do her student union. So she definitely got her way. And just being resourceful like that, you have to think of ways to really make sure you get your message heard if you really believe that your message is worth hearing. But also make sure that it is worth hearing, talking to your peers, talking to teachers, talking to your parents, to make sure that it is a message worth hearing. So that's how you can get your message out there.
We have another question. As a young trailblazer and minority, how do you mentor, educate your majority peers or on social issues like Black Lives Matters? Do you feel this is your calling?
Well, I educate my peers by really just participating actively in discussions that allow them. Like in my 11th grade English class, we talked about stuff like that all the time. And I would basically tell them the stories that occur, like in Florida. In Florida, the police academy, they were using Black men as target practice. Black male pictures. Sorry, not black men. Like black male pictures. They probably was doing both of them, but yeah. And another one is the Tamir Rice story in Ohio, which is very sad, of a 12-year-old getting shot and killed within 3 seconds of a police officer arriving on the scene, and they thought he had a gun in his hand when it was really a BB gun. And a young African American, and he's dead now. And the police even threatened to arrest his sister and mother for crying so loudly.
That issue, and it's interesting because I didn't know about the order of operation when it comes to arresting someone. And there's an order operation that they have to follow, starting with communicating, whether talking to them, figuring out what the problem is. You're supposed to use your mace and then a baton, and I'll have the whole list. But in doing Force Continuum, I learned that there's a chain of command or things that you're supposed to do before you resort to pulling out your gun and shooting. And most officers go right to that.
Yes, and something that my dad said a while back, which was really interesting to me, was that that police officers need to be a little bit more confident in their equipment and things like that, because they do have weapons and equipment that is much more militant and really ready than the people that they're apprehending. And when they fearfully, as they claim, take a shot at somebody who is unarmed, that really shouldn't be happening. And if you were like confident in your procedures and your
And it's
your equipment.
and if they but they jumped right to the gun or the baton before they talk to the person.
Sometimes, yeah.
We're gonna take another quick break. We'll be right back here with Mr. Marcus Shaw when we return to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is, because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org, because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council. Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is, because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org, because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council.
Check out this flashback of the Artist Exchange Radio Show on BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show, here live on BeExposedRadio.com. In the building, we have live Mr. Michael Ryder. There we go. And Mr. Steve Yarn. They're doing a partnership based on what was it again? The stories of the Vulcan Blazers. An awesome production that they have coming up. And now the name of it will be called Baltimore Heat. There we go. They were telling us a little bit about, they're in the pre-production phase of developing this Baltimore-based production. It seems like a really awesome idea, and I always love for more artistic events to come here, and because it's more of an event, because you guys are going to actually use Baltimore as your complete backdrop of the city, and that's very awesome to hear.
Yeah, we want people to fall in love with this project through the visions and the tales we're going to tell about these firefighters, but also we want them to fall in love with the city of Baltimore. Just like they did with Miami Vice and Chicago Fire and NYPD Blue and
Sex in the City
and all these other places that have the city as a star as much as the artists and the actors are.
And Baltimore has for many years have been the backdrops of many movies. I could think of a few Whoopi Goldberg movies, Sleepless in Seattle. A lot of these movies that have always used Baltimore as a scene, not to mention The Wire and Homicide and countless other movies, House of Cards, all these movies and television shows that have always used it, but it was never really about Baltimore. They always included Baltimore in the story or the backdrops or certain historical scenery,
things they absolutely needed to say.
But House of Cards actually shoots in Baltimore. But they're saying that it's Washington, D.C.
Right. Yeah.
So they're shooting here and not even giving us credit for the place we're here.
The Artist Exchange Radio Show every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artists, real talk, real live on BeExposedRadio.com.
Only in the forest can you see this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. And you might just see this. Visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hey, everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired Radio Show.
Focus on the word take for a moment.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, when I begin to just, think about take. When you taking something. Yes, we think about, the possession and grab and hold, but when you're taking something on, you're capturing it, you're securing it, and you become impregnated with that.
Wow.
Tune in to Be Inspired every Wednesday live at 7 p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com.
Are you thinking about getting your GED diploma? Well, here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we've got a number of pep talks that can motivate you.
Sometimes things don't always turn out the way you want them to.
You know that feeling? People look at you and don't believe in you.
You want some gentle encouragement. Then you're on your way to your GED diploma and a better life.
But I know they're probably just a little bit nervous. You can find it in yourself to take that first step.
You can improve your future. You can do this. I know you can.
You need to start pushing yourself.
Now get your game face on and take the first step towards a better life. Hurry up. Don't make me repeat myself.
Whatever level of motivation you need to get your GED diploma, we've got a pep talk that's right for you. Call 1-877-38-YOUR-GED or visit yourged.org for your pep talk and find free GED classes in your area. GED is a registered trademark of the American Council on Education, brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
He was married to the white woman. That's what it felt like, having him as president. Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show on BeExposedRadio.com. We're here live in the building with Mr. Marcus Shaw. He's actually gonna, well, no, not yet. I was jumping ahead of myself. We actually have one more. Somebody left another comment actually for you. I am extremely impressed with your guest today, Mr. Marcus Shaw. As a high school senior, he was already proven to be a trailblazer. Dartmouth. Okay, sir. One of the nationally known Ivy League universities, and they are blessed to have him. It says remain #thirsty, great poem. Awesome. So you're going to Dartmouth. Was that your first choice, second choice? What other choices did you? I know you don't want to, disappoint them.
So Dartmouth was definitely on my list because I knew for a very long time that I wanted to be at an Ivy League university, and I definitely accomplished that goal by getting into Dartmouth. So I'm pretty happy with it.
So did you have a plan C, plan D?
Plan C, plan D. Oh, Morehouse was up there, as well as Howard. So I haven't heard back from Howard though, but what else?
They have been known to take their time. No, I have a lot of friends who wanted to really go there, and they always learned like July.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have never. Wow. And
they have infamous.
Yes.
They're really infamous for doing that.
Wow.
For making you wait. Unless they really want you, like if they sought you out. But outside, not to say anything about your grades or your reputation, but they have a bad reputation of just dragging their feet. Yeah. And this is part of their selection process.
Yes. Okay.
But that's awesome. That's a nice round choice. But we knew Morehouse was out because we didn't want to go to the South. But we was going. So I
actually like Atlanta though. I went to visit. It was pretty cool. It's a pretty cool environment.
So what do you? Okay, so you are interested in doing law. Where do you want to take that? Do you want to just be grassroots, or I know you want to? You're not looking to work for a super large conglomerate firm or anything. How do you want to use that degree?
I was definitely looking into joining the ACLU or the NAACP with my law degree and trying to really
reestablish them.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
How do you think you could turn around the NAACP? Because they've gotten horrible. Even the local and the national level has been non-existent.
Like I said, we need a leader, and I would be willing to try to be that leader and really unify the African American people through I don't know, just getting a game plan out there. Like I feel like that needs to happen. A game plan meaning like, oh, we are going to really take our time and energy and focus on really attacking on all fronts. Like, I know there's that thing about Black Lives Matter doesn't care about black on black crime.
Right.
That's terribly untrue.
It's truth in it, but it's not the complete.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Truth.
Yeah. So I would definitely work on trying to have a lot less of that fragmentation among African Americans in the different movements that they support, and have it be really one movement that we're all supporting.
I really think you should reach out to like the Urban League as well.
Yes.
Because they are just like the NAACP, they have gotten a little away from the original mission that they had, but they are more connected with the everyday of our culture and our communities. But they are, they're more open to youthful leadership than the NAACP is. Just my experience and just me going to a lot of their meetings, I've realized the Urban League does more youth-based leadership programming than the NAACP does. They have a lot of programs there, but the NAACP has gotten a horrible name for not being. Where are they when these things are happening? But and that's why the Al Sharptons and people like them are at the forefront of these conversations, because the leadership that was built to handle this type of stuff is not there anymore.
Yeah.
So would you like, is that a goal to be like the president or the director of one of those big organizations?
It very much could be a goal. I'm not really sure yet. I do want to be a civil rights attorney, and I do want to help bridge the achievement gap and really advance our people as well as all minorities as a whole. I mean, as well as all people as a whole. So,
but what do you think your legacy in that being? So, say you get to that point where you're the national director of the NAACP. What do you think you'll be able to start there or create there or reestablish there?
Definitely want to emphasize education among all minorities, like seeking a degree so that we can really transfer our wealth back to each other. And also the support of Black-owned businesses, that definitely needs to be happening, and just really taking just taking the police to task in some of the actions that they do, like really taking them to task and really trying to enforce civil rights in our country.
So we actually had a topic today. It was actually what happened to Officer Friendly. I was explaining to him, it was started like in the late 70s by the Sears Roebuck organization. That was their like community engagement program. And I remember, I think that was like the late 80s, early 90s. It was geared towards helping young people, young adults, children to be introduced to police officers in a non-confrontational way, where it wasn't just because the crack epidemic had happened. They were trying to find ways to help children understand what the police job was, because they were getting a lot of flack for, like, especially in California and a lot of the Rodney King type of stuff. So it was geared towards that. What I remember of it was officers normally came to your school for a day, and they would just spend the day going to classroom to classroom, or it never was a big assembly. It was more one-on-one. So they were actually coming to your classrooms. They were like coloring books and all these learning tools to help you learn what police officers' jobs were and what they were for. As a child, that seemed interesting because for a split second, that made me want to be a police officer. But something happened between elementary school and high school where I did not want to do that anymore, because I saw the danger in it, one, and I saw the types of people who I knew personally who were becoming police officers, and it really wasn't always the most positive intention behind it. And not to say that all police officers are bad, because I don't want somebody that'd be like, oh, well, I'm a police officer. It's not. If one person is acting up, it's a reflection on everybody. It's not. You can't just single yourself out because 5 other people are misbehaving or not doing their job correctly. And it was something. The play that I was doing, we did these mini interviews with each one of the actors, and that was one of the things that I said. Like, what happened to Officer Friendly? What happened to that project, that program? I'm quite sure money was filtered out of it and put other places because it had to be, but that was a program that really forced police officers to connect with children outside of hostile situations. And I don't think they had it when you were in school. Was that something that you remember? Because I remember it was just on the elementary school level.
No, I don't remember that, but I know we do have school resource officers in our high school and middle schools, at least in Baltimore County.
So what are their jobs? What are their?
They make sure that
are they more guidance counselors or officers? School police officers?
I think they do a bit of both. They definitely do a bit of both because you can call on them for anything. Because I know in our law classes, our resource officer would come in and talk to us about the police's role in the legal process, and he also does apprehend kids like smoking in the bathroom and stuff like that. Okay, and
so they've kind of combined.
Yeah.
I know in city schools they don't have that. A lot of city schools don't have that frame. So when they see school police, it's normally when something's wrong has happened.
Yeah.
Or just police in the school in general. It's not that connection where you get to talk to the police officers. And a lot of people didn't understand. A lot of young people that I teach don't understand what Officer Friendly was. Because they think that's just something that was like on Sesame Street or something.
Yep.
But it was actually a group. It was police officers. It was a nationwide organization where they would actually bring police officers into the school and sit down and talk. But I just always wondered why that program has not been reestablished in the light of all of this and why they aren't forcing them. And it was more educational for the officers, I could believe, also because they have
a face. Yeah.
Right.
They know that they're good kids. Yeah, all that stuff.
Right.
Yep.
And then for us seeing that they are police officers
and they care about us,
then
you have a different view of police officers from that.
Right. Instead of just separating or breaking up something that's happening.
I'm thinking.
How do you think that could be implemented back into the educational? Being as though you have a resource officer and you see what good is doing because you're actually learning about that.
Definitely, our school resource officer could come into our mentorship program that I think is expanding because some county executives came and talked to Randall and want to expand his mentorship program. And if school resource officers are going in and talking to the troubled kids of the class, so to speak, then that kind of creates that understanding that all police officers are not there to harm you, as well as all minorities aren't there to harm you. Yeah.
And I think that's what's missing. And I think a lot, and this play actually, Force Continuum actually did a lot in making me remember what Officer Friendly was and what it meant to us, because we don't get to talk to police officers because they're hostile right now and we're hostile. So there's no communication happening outside of courtrooms and the media. Yep. So what then happens when we are faced with a police officer? And young people, our first, and not even young people, people in general, when we see a police officer doing their job, we're hostile because of all that we've seen and all that we've heard, on the news and just in our neighborhoods in general. We see them policing incorrectly. Yes. One of my things I hate to see is when they're like window to window in the street. Yep. And they're just randomly talking. And for me, that just, you're doing things that in any other situation would be outlandish. Like you're walking. And that there's been talks in the news and media about bringing it like a 2.0, Officer Friendly 2.0, but making them like walk the beat. So they're out in the community more.
Yeah,
we see them more now.
Like on The Wire, I remember there was something like that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's what it was intended to be. But just so they have a more or a stronger bond with the community instead of just being in their cop car with their shades on and being distant from the people that they're actually policing. So I think that could be a lot more helpful. So real quick, let us know where we can find you on social media or find your work. Where can we hear you? Where can we see you perform?
Yeah, so definitely I perform at Busboys and Poets every once in a while. You can find me on Facebook.
Is it one particular one, or do you go back and forth between the two?
I go back and forth between the two. Typically in DC though, because they have a youth night on Saturdays.
And I was saying what location, because there's two of them in DC.
Oh yeah, not the one in Hyattsville.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
The one in the city.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And my name is Marcus Shaw. You can find me on Facebook. It's a picture of me in my senior portrait next to a picture of me as a child. And also I am on Snapchat, Black Man with a Plan, BLACKMANWDAPLAN.
Okay, for the over 25 crowd, what is Snapchat and how does it work? I mean, I know what Snapchat is, but how does it?
So Snapchat is basically this messaging app, and truth be told, I just got into it like a month ago, after I got accepted into college. And you can take a picture of yourself and put little messages, text on the bottom of pictures, as well as emojis all around it. And you can choose filters and make your face look different kinds of ways. And you can send it out to your friends and family who are also on Snapchat. And also you can follow athletes and businessmen and all different types of celebrities on Snapchat. And you can also put your what's going on right now. Like I could record what's going on right now and put it to my story so that everybody who's friends with me on Snapchat can see what I did today in the past 24 hours.
I just been hearing so much about it, and I don't like to jump into stuff, but that seems too much for me. I stick to my Instagram and my Facebook page. So we'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show with Mr. Marcus Shaw. Give us a call, 410-702-5657, or you can text us in your questions or comments to 443-642-9403. When we come back, we'll hear the infamous poem in its entirety from Mr. Marcus Shaw. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Thank you for tuning in to BeExposedRadio.com. Sit back, relax, and listen to this flashback of the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
Football, you basically have a good 10 to 12 years, and that's what it is.
So you have a lot of people retiring early. It's funny, a lot of me and my alumni from UVA, where I graduated from, one of our fellow Wahoos, he retired yesterday, 32 years old. To Shaw Ferguson, and he's been in the league like 10 or 12 years. So like you said, a lot of guys are making that change on their own now because they're seeing a lot of things from the concussion movement,
right?
Stuff that's been happening. Is not the noun, it's the effects later, because you see different stories of men are in like their 50s and some are committed suicide because of the banging in the voices or the concussions. And
did you see that?
I haven't got a chance to see it. But
not the movie, but did you see those effects?
I have seen concussions in college where guys have played that whole entire game and didn't realize they was at a football game.
Wow.
But like before the big emphasis came about whole concussions and what's going on, we was taught you just run to the wall. You can't be soft. You shake it off and get back in it. So
the wrong attitude to have.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really internal. Like you really doing damage, not just to your bones,
right,
but to your mind.
Everything.
Right.
And later on down the line, because just like you said, once the game is over, when you've been in a game and you think about it, because I tell people the NFL, any sports, whether it's male or female, is a semi-military, because you're told when to get up, when to work out, what to eat, when to play. All right, now you got a curfew, you got to be in the bed by this time. You do it for years and years, and all of a sudden, bam, it's done. So what do you do?
Right.
So just like in a military that have with PTSD. We have that because we so used to having a certain way. And I remember watching this Brian Gumbel on HBO, was like years ago, and a guy would act like he was getting dressed, a real good football player, would walk his daughter to the bus stop, and he would come back in the house, close the curtains, and just sit there because he didn't know how else to handle himself, because he was so used to being told what to do, because our schedule are laid out. By this time, you gotta do this. By this time, you gotta do this. Eat at this time, back on the field. So,
hey, what's up? This is Nate, host of the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Tune in every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. and every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artist, real talk, real live, here live on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Danger. Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. We have had an awesome educational experience with Mr. Marcus Shaw. Shout out to his dad. I see where he comes from and where he gets his point of view from. Very interesting. We got to get the
Shout
two
out
of
to
you.
my mom, Suzette Shaw.
That's the
She's
enforcer.
awesome too.
She's the enforcer. I get that. So we got to bring you all back on. So I want to hear the entire story. I would love to see you guys together. I think I'm scared of Mom, because she seems like the one that puts the fist down.
It's funny because she's like only 5'3" too. So
that's all it takes.
Exactly.
My mom has been 5, about the same height, and I still have the same fear in her.
Of course, without a doubt. You'd be crazy not to.
But we're gonna hear the infamous poem, "Believe Me," by Mr. Marcus Shaw. So we're going to close out the show with that. So don't forget to tune into the Artist Exchange Radio Show every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Remember, this Tuesday, the Actors Playground, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. at 847 North Howard Street, the UB Blake Jazz and National Jazz and Culture Center. That's it. And also, don't forget, I'm in Forest Continuum. Come and see me. You have until May the 8th. May the 8th to see me. 3 long weekends to come see me in this awesome show. If you are into this political activism, if you're into finding solutions and being shown what is going on in our community, and it's a great message in the play. We actually had the playwright on last night, Miss Kia Carthren. She's an awesome writer, activist herself, so definitely look her up. But come on out. We are at the 3200 Dillon Street at the United Evangelical Church, April the 22nd, that we opened up last night through May the 8th. It's Fridays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Sundays at 3 p.m. sharp. They do not start late, so you will miss it if you get there late. We're gonna let you in. We're definitely gonna get your ticket money, but we're gonna we definitely gonna let you come in. But for more ticket information or information on this production, go to www.cohesiontheater.org. Get your tickets. Come on. Tickets are sold at the door also, so definitely come on. Check out me and my awesome castmates, Miss Rosin Carthen, the director. Also, don't forget to vote for us. Rep Yo Grind, REPYOGRIND.com. Go to vote for the Artist Exchange for Grinder of the Year in Radio. I'm sweating right now. I'm so tired. But definitely vote for us. Thank you so much. And we're going to close out this segment with Mr. Marcus Shaw with Believe Me, the infamous Believe Me poem.
Officer, I'm begging you to believe that never ever have I smoked weed. Please do not tell me that I need to leave. I need to stay in school and continue to read. Picture if you were me, where everyone believes that you have a baby by the time you reach the age of a teen, and the only question they ask is if you crip or bleed. But what if that's not the case? Up my sleeve, I think I have an ace that can answer the problems that all people face, no matter the skin color, no matter the race. And it doesn't involve mixing baking soda or shooting a brother just because somebody told you, or shooting a ball because that's how they coached you, or rapping like Chief Keef King Sosa. It's called education. No matter what you do, that should be the foundation. You won't need a welfare donation. You can live your life and even vacation. I now see some police. Some cause riots instead of keeping the peace. That's the difference between them and me. I see a few bad apples, not a whole tree. Some will cause my parents grief by killing me. Like Eric Garner, I cannot breathe. But I promise I will garner my responsibilities. I want to succeed. No, I have to succeed. My life will not end at 23. I will beat that expectancy and have my children carry my legacy. But officer, it's not my weed. Officer, it's not my weed. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Marcus Shaw. This is, you know what? I'm give me that information. I want the home address. I want the phone number, because clearly they didn't read it. They didn't read it. They didn't hear your audition. They just heard the intention and what they thought it was. So I'm very disappointed. And I appreciate your fight, your friend's fight. I think you said her name was Crystal.
Crystal Alexis.
Crystal Alexis. I definitely appreciate her, your mom, for speaking up for her child, and all 3,000 of those individuals that signed that petition. I thank you for letting a message go by. I'm very disappointed, Principal. I knew something in my mind. I just wanted to say they didn't read it, but I wanted to hear it and see clearly you didn't read it. You didn't, because it was a perspective. It wasn't law that you were putting down. It was a perspective, a truthful perspective. So I'm definitely principals, teachers, anybody in charge of students, listen to them. If your principal actually listened to what you were saying instead of looking at you and then judging then what she thought your intention was, this wouldn't even been an issue. You know, I probably would have met you once you had graduated and became a success. But this is upsetting to me that clearly you didn't read it, or you read in it what you wanted to get from it, as the teacher and the principal that are in charge of your school at your school. But I really thank you and appreciate you coming on and sharing your poetry with us, and I can't wait to see you do more.
Thank you very much.
Definitely invite us out when you have some engagements.
Yes, definitely, I will.
So once again, let us know where we can find you at, your
Marcus,
Snapchat and all that.
Marcus, Marcus Shaw on Facebook, and then on Snapchat, you can add me at Black Man with a Plan, BlackmanWDAPLAN.
Any last remarks to anybody that's listening?
Yes. So police brutality isn't the only issue that we need to focus on. We also need to focus on mass incarceration. The fact that African Americans are being incarcerated at exorbitant rates, and especially compared with other races, is very, very unfortunate, and we need to work to put an end to that. And also seek education. That's the key.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. This has been another Artist Exchange show. Definitely join us next Friday. I'm going to be here next Friday. And see you guys later. We'll be posting the show after. So definitely thank you again, Marcus. And I forgot to say, Mr. Bossman is in the room. So we were trying to be on our best behavior today. So we'll be back here. Don't forget also, May the 14th, open house here at Be Exposed Radio, 110 East Lexington Street, Suite 200, second floor. Come on out. People, bring yourself. Just bring yourself, your crazy relatives, your funny relatives. Just come on out. Networking opportunities. Thank you again. BeExposedRadio.com. Go to it. Check it out.